Hello, hello, hello. Welcome on in to Beacon Space. And I'm your host, Lichmaster98, here, also known commonly on the uh, Unrestricted Lore Fair Discord server as Xavier. And Chrome tab, would you please pick up the correct thing? Great. There we go. With that all taken care, welcome on in. And if you're new here, thanks for joining us. And if you don't know what's going on, I'm the host of Unrestricted Lore Fair, where we are working on a Discord server that collaboratively is creating the world called Beacon Space. It is a sci-fi futuristic setting set sometime in the far future that is working to reestablish its connections to the map at large after a horrible event. Apparently, I can't say cataclysmic. There we go. Cataclysmic event called the glitch that cut off transportation quite significantly in FTL space. Today, you join us for the faction turn, where we run through the once a month order submitted by the lovely faction leaders in the Discord server, where you can also join on in and become a member of any faction and potentially be responsible for submitting said faction orders to me, the GM, on a monthly basis. If you're interested in doing so, if you're watching the VOD, there's a link down in YouTube down below, or if you're joining us live here on Twitch, !Discord can get you a link to join our Discord server where you'll be able to join a faction, and there are plenty of people there who'll be willing to welcome you in. Right, well, it looks like all the technology is working for me today, including captions, and I hope people have been able to hear me for the past minute. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. The screen you're looking at right now is a lovely map visualization of our world, which operates on this hex field with numbers from obviously 00 to the edge all the way over here, which is 1818, as we have a 19 by 19 map. The center planet here is Tellus, and all these different dots are different faction assets or bases of influence that exist within the world, and they are all derived from this lovely thing that is affectionately referred to as the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet here is our master tracker of everything that happens within the world of Beacon Space, and if it's on here, it exists in the mechanical world, and there is a wiki that explains a lot of the in-fiction situations. Hopefully you've been able to catch some of our other productions that have been going on recently. We've been starting to stream recorded versions of our new West Marches tabletop RPG set in the Cypher system, which is within the world of Beacon Space as well, where we're following free agents in the world of the Penumbra, which is a level that operates below this faction turn, so where the individual actors are people in the world that are not perhaps they may be members of a faction or have allegiances to factions, but they are people who are able to get things done, and that perhaps the factions would contract work out to in fiction. It's been quite a lot of fun. We've been having a good time with those sessions, and anyone is welcome to join on our Discord server. You can play in one, and you can play on one even if you don't want the session you play in to hit our Twitch channel or have a YouTube bot be created from it. We're totally fine and welcome people to come in and play, even if that's not an end result for the sessions they play in. The lore themselves and the game is just as much fun. With that, though, I think that's all the introductions out of the way. Hopefully that gives a little bit of what Beacon Space is all about. And I'm going to go ahead and get started with our faction turn. So we're going to get started with the resolution of our previous Tellus Terra Group Initiative vote. So last month, the decision that was placed forward was for the Terraforming Decision 3, where 3 different tags for the world of Tellus were proposed, and one option needed to get more than 50% support to be selected. At this point in time, no option received 50% of the vote, so One option will be dropped. The votes results were 3 votes for seagoing cities, 3 votes for Trade Hub, 1 vote for Psionics Academy, which would be the bleed in our setting, and then 2 factions did not submit a vote. The text results of that, of course, will be available in the Discord channel shortly after the stream, so that those of you are going to find that information easier to read than to hear will be able to take it up there. So that means this option will potentially go forward for another chair to propose, and Psionics Academy will no longer be an option. Because it'll be down to 2 just seagoing cities and Trade Hub at that point in time, if it comes up again, it will not need a majority 50%. It will just be whichever vote receives the most support. And that'll be how the additional tag gets assigned. Well, thank you for the follow. If it ties, I'll have to come up with a new solution. I'm gonna hope it doesn't, but by the time it gets proposed out to a faction to select for a TTGI vote, it'll be there will be instructions on what would happen on a tie. So that don't need to be worried about that yet. Great. With all that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get started with our faction turns. So let me switch on over to this sheet. And we're going to be starting with Ascent. And I did not put these in order before the stream today, so we'll be doing that live. And Ascent has a very easy and quick turn to take care of. They're going to be taking the goal to expand influence, where they'll need to add a base of influence onto a planet. And then they'll be taking the action to complete said goal. So, very easy turn. Let's go give them their money before we expand their influence. So, Ascent gains 5 faction credits, bringing them up to a balance of 29. And then they're going to be expanding influence on a planet way over here called Planet V, where they're going to be placing a base of influence down with either of those 2 assets are capable of doing so. When expanding influence, if there was an opposing faction present, they would be able to potentially contest. Because there is no opposing faction, Ascent is able to do this action without any opposition. So let's come on right here, and I'm just going to edit in right here a base of influence, which I should drag so that the sheet doesn't get too mad at me. And I did not need this to increment, thank you. Max HP is 1, and so that's what they are setting it as. So that adds the new Ascent base of influence on Planet V, and costs 1 faction credit, so that brings them down to 28 credits. That also completes the expand influence goal, so Ascent goes up to 9 experience points. Quick and easy turn for the speedy faction, which works out quite nicely, and we'll move on to faction number 2 for this turn, which is the Amelhart Institute. They're going to have a fairly similarly easy turn, but they're going to be taking the exploration goal and action. They'll also be getting 5 faction credits as their income, but let's go take care of that, and then we will do some exploration of a yet unexplored system. So the Amelhart Institute right here goes up to 41 faction credits. Man, they're pretty rich. You gotta find some way to get them to spend some money. And then they're going to be exploring a hex down over here. Yes, right here. 0315, this point of interest. Right here. With the commodities broker. Yep, that is their turn. It looks like the point of interest name or system name is marked down incorrectly, but that's okay because the system name is just so that it actually displays fine on the map. So I'll want to fix that in the notes. Great. So the commodities broker is a wealth asset, and this point of interest is 1 hex away from a previously unexplored system. So if we take a look at our Exploration to Explain document, we'll figure out that the difficulty of this is a difficulty 10 roll. That's what I didn't open. I didn't open a dice roller. Give me just one moment as I hide that. Forgot to open roll 20. Had everything else prepared and was like, I feel like I'm missing a tab. Lo and behold, I was missing a tab. I was missing the roll 20 tab. I should make myself a full screen a thing so I don't just have to hide it and have a giant blank space, but nevertheless, we are good and roll 20 is up. I'd like to clear the current chat log so that I don't accidentally display the link to join this on stream. Thanks. Alright, so this roll is a D10 roll versus difficulty a D10 plus Emelhart's wealth score, which is 6, and then it's versus difficulty 10. So roll a D10 plus 6. They only rolled an 8, so that's a failure. Quite unfortunate for them. They did choose to succeed at cost, however, so that's a D4 of damage for 2 damage. So let's go make that note and then apply the damage. So right in here, 1 is a D10 plus 6, which yielded an 8, which is less than 10. Failure, succeed with 2 damage. Let's go apply that damage before I forget, because I'm sure I would otherwise. So this is looking for a commodities broker that is on this point of interest right here. So it goes down to 4. And then let's go finish creating this new sector. So we'll need to roll a d6 to figure out how many planets we have. That is only 1 planet, and then there's a lovely macro for creating planets. That's a pretty interesting world. It's the first TL5 world I think we've rolled naturally. So roll 20 tab's going to disappear for a second. It'll come back in just one moment after I finish reading out the planet here and transferring it to this new tab into the planet map. So this is in the 0315 system. So this is becoming, hopefully my notes are correct, planet AK. AK, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. So that I don't mess it up and cause the map to go all confusion. This mechanics tag is wealth assets gain +2 and loses 1 from another asset cap. With millions of people present, that's fine sheet, thank you. That is TL5 with an invasive atmosphere that is a temperate temperature and a miscible biosphere. All in all, this world seems pretty nice. It's got the planet tags Area 51 and Mandate Base, which would be interesting to see how that works in our fiction, since we don't quite have the stars of the numbers mandate existing, but I'm sure that would be an interesting substitution for something else in system. I'll put the roll 20 results back up just so people can take a look at them real quick. And the ruin is an 11, unfortunately not a 20, so there's no ruin present on this world. But yeah, that's a pretty cool planet. I do think it's the first, is it the first TL5 planet that's naturally been rolled out of all of them? I think it is. The TL5 is a fairly rare roll on that. Yeah, it is. Okay. The only other TL5 planet is Tellus so far, so that's pretty cool. Glad to know we finally found one of those in the wild. And that'll be right here for anyone interested taking a look at the system map. I need to fix the planet page because, yes, this is going to be on the wrong planet, but that is all right because this commodities broker is now going to move as the second part of Emelhart Institute's turn. They're going to activate a covert shipping asset, which is a free action. it just costs 1 faction credit, and then a second faction credit for moving into a different point of interest, and this is moving into 1013 to go to that point of interest. And that cost 2 faction credits. So let's go charge the Amelhart Institute for that, bringing them down under 40 faction credits to 39. And let's give them their 2 experience for completing their exploration of a new hex. Pretty cool to have found a TL5 planet. I may reach out with to the Amelhart Institute and come up with a little blurb for the lore stream about that discovery. That would be pretty cool. It's the first time we found one of those. But that was a good turn. Now we're moving on to the third faction in today's order, the Starlet Court, who have a fairly complicated use asset ability turn to take care of, mostly because we got to make sure we don't mess anything up. So the first things first, we're going to go give the Starlet Court their money. Why do I have that as 4 when their note says 5? Is that just a mistake on my end on my notes? It may be. Let me double check. I don't want to have this wrong. Oh yeah, I just wrote it down wrong in my notes. It should be 4 faction credits. Okay. This is what I get when about every faction has an income of 5. I finally mess one up. Okay, let's go fix that over here before I get confused 4 turns from now when I'm trying to make sure there's not a mistake somewhere. So first things first, we're going to be moving a smuggler from the planet of Ingrid, which is the Amelhart's homeworld, into space, because the smuggler's assets, I believe, are capable of moving into space. Let's just double check that for completeness. So smugglers are starship assets, so therefore they can exist in space with our modified version of the rules. So they are moving to 0815. So Starlet Court's smugglers on Ingrid, which have been purchased, are right here, and they are moving to 0815. And this is going to cause the map to break for the moment. I will fix it after we finish getting through every faction turn, because messing with the planet map tab to add these space things sometimes breaks other things, and I'd prefer not to be chasing a bunch of errors at this moment. That costs 1 faction credit. The second movement that the Starlet Court is going to take is moving the smugglers on planet AD that they have, so that's probably this set right here. And they're going to be relocating those into Hex 1101 from 1403. So if we go take a look at the map, just if anyone's wondering, you can 1403 is right up here. Yep, you can find these smugglers. You can highlight over them, and it actually seems that the location they've given is too far away for these smuggler assets to move to. It looks like smugglers can only move to... that's right. Is there the... But they could do that for a free action. And we've have the thing... Oh, yeah, okay. So this was... Great. This is the clarification of the mercenary interaction with smuggler's asset. So good thing this came up. The mercenary tag of the Starlet Court allows for an action an asset can move itself up to 1 hex away. We have another ruling that we've said for any of these assets that can already move themselves, the mercenary movement becomes in addition to, because otherwise you're only able to activate an asset once per turn. So then the mercenary ruling is kind of useless to those actions. So the smuggler's asset is in fact able to move 3 hexes. The map isn't able to display that, so this movement is in fact legal because of the mercenary ruling. Great. Good thing to double check all the rules there. And that adds our total cost of 3 faction credits to the Starlet Court, as this is moving into a point of interest, so that incurs an extra charge. The next movement for the Starlet Court is they have a strike fleet that is currently hanging out in space in 1801, and it wants to move to 1702, the point of interest there. So if we go back to the map, we can find this right over here is moving into this point of interest at 1702, which is quite nice. That is another two faction credits, so that brings the total cost up to 5 for the Starlet Court. And then the final thing they want to do is activate some Harvester assets. Those are hanging out on their homeworld of Sihi, and the Harvesters roll a d6 on a 3+. They gain 1 faction credit. So we'll go back over to Roll20 and roll the d6 real quick here. And they have rolled a 2, so they do not gain a faction credit. So that means they have a total cost for this turn of 5 faction credits, bringing them down to a balance of 4. They do have 1 final action on this turn. They're going to be moving their homeworld, as it is a special ability of the Starlet Court's homeworld of Sihi to relocate itself. And they're going to be moving it from 0908, which is somewhere way the far over here, to 0900. So just 1 hex further north. So let's go do that on the on the planet map. See he moves to 0907. It breaks all of reality for just a moment, as we have to now fix all the sheets. So just give me a moment, as I need to go around and fix all of these things so that hopefully nothing else breaks further down. And then we moved assets off, so this would be 0815. I think I can fix the planet map now. 0815. That's where things moved onto, 0815 and 0815. Great. That should hopefully fix the map right up. And that wraps up the Starlet Court's turn. I'd like to thank them for their turn, and we'll move right on along to the 4th faction of today's session, which is the Concorde of Mutual Disdain. They're going to be taking the exploration goal, which we've already seen in action once today, and then they'll also be gaining their 5 faction credits. Let's go ahead and paste that in there. They're going to be moving a strike fleet into the hex of 1511's point of interest at a cost of 2 faction credits, and then they will explore that hex. Let's go give them their money. So the Concorde of Mutual Disdain goes from a balance of 5 up to a balance of 10. They're then immediately going to go spend 2 faction credits to move a strike fleet, so let's go do so. We can get rid of Purchase Sickness from last turn on that asset, which is in fact the strike fleet that will go ahead and relocate from 1510 to 1511. I'm going to go ahead while I'm here and move the 2nd strike fleet before we do the exploration, just because it's easier on me. This strike fleet is moving to the hex of 1614 and is going to go cost them 1 additional faction credit that we'll go take care of charging right now. And let me fix the map, because I think I'm going to be able to do so without breaking everything. So this is going to take Concorde of Mutual Disdain down to 7 faction credits, and now let's go do the exploration for them. So they're going to be exploring the hex of 1511 right here. It is 1 hex away from the 1510 location, and the strike fleet is a force asset. So the Concorde of Mutual Disdain's force stat is a 4, so this roll is a 1d10 plus 4 versus the difficulty of 10. And man, everyone is having really bad luck on their d10 rolls today. Only gaining a 7, which is a failure, so they'll take a d4's worth of damage for maximum damage of 4 HP to the Concorde of Mutual Disdain's strike fleet. So this takes their HP down to 4, but they do succeed in the exploration. So let me go ahead and make a note about this. One is a d10 plus 4 equals 7, which is less than 10. Succeed at cost for damage to strike fleet. And actually, I want to record that this was a 2. Yep, perfect. So let's see how many planets are in this hex by rolling a d6. A 5, I believe, is 2 planets. Where's that chart? Yes, a 5 is 2 planets. So the first will be AL. Let's check it out here. Ooh, TL4 plus. Getting a bunch of fun planets here. Let's take a look at the planet map, excuse me, and this was in the hex of 1511, I believe. Let's just double check. Yes, it was. I'm going to need to insert a second row. I wish I could tell the spreadsheet not to bother me for longer than 5 minutes. It would make my life considerably easier, but alas, I don't think I can. So AL, and then A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. AM is going to be that planet, and then the next one would be AN. Okay, so the first planet here has that logistics facility assets cost 1 less, with an uncolonized world that is TL4 plus, with a invasive atmosphere that is a temperate temperature with a remnant biosphere, with the tags of xenophobes and great work. And then the ruins roll was a 4, so that is not a ruin. The second planet in this hex has the mechanics tag of force assets, deal 1 additional damage on attacks and counterattacks, with a hundreds of millions population that is TL2 that has a breathable atmosphere with a temperate temperature and a miscible biosphere. Hey, we finally found a planet that is a breathable mix, temperate, and miscible that is entirely average from that perspective. It has the tags of taboo treasure and pilgrimage site, which is great. And I'll pull the Roll20 tab back along so people can take a look at both of those. The first one is right here, and here is the second planet. And yeah, the Concorde of Mutual Disdain is really getting hurt by these succeed at cost rolls. I think you all have had, like, most of them fail at this point. But regardless, you can still succeed at that cost and gain the XP. So let's go give you the XP for completing set actions, bringing you up to 4. And with that said, I think that wraps up your turn. I'd like to thank you for your contributions, and I'm going to move right along to the Larkspur Combine, who was 5th this month. They are going to be taking the inside enemy territory goal, and which is a relatively unique one, which requires them to move stealth assets onto a new planet Perry Governor's location, which is fairly easy for them to do, and they've done it quite a many times so far. Let's go give them their income of 5 faction credits and then move their assets around accordingly. So we've given them a total balance of 27 after they've gained their 5. They now need to have a post-tech industry asset try to generate some money for them. So post-tech industry right here rolls a d6 and has a resulting action to the number of faction credits. A 3, I believe, is a +1. That is correct. So let's go make a note here. D6 equals 3 + 1 FC. And then they're going to, I believe, just get to bank that. No, excuse me. They have 2 strike fleets that activate for a total cost of 2 faction credits. So I'm going to just go ahead and subtract 1 from them now, bringing them down to 26. Now let's go move some assets around for them. The first asset they're going to move is a surveyor, which is currently located on Idarast, and they are going to move that to Longza. And then they are moving a strike fleet on Idarast as well, right here, and these are both moving to Mancura Niti. Which those were the ones that cost some faction credits. That was 3 assets relocated. Larkspur Combine has a cunning score of 3, so that finishes off the inside enemy territory goal, giving them 6 experience. And I believe that wraps up their turn. With that, yeah. I think that's the end of Larkspur Combine's turn. I believe that all of that is perfectly fine. And yeah, that was an Amelhart Institute location they moved to from right here in response to Myth in the chat there. Great. That wraps that up. Let's move on over to the Tohora Fai, who are 6th this turn. We'll put in a 6. And they are going to be taking the exploration action. Let's go give them their 5 faction credits and then do so. So Tohora goes up to 14 faction credits, and then they are going to explore the 0408 sector, right over here, where they have a strike fleet. So they're going to be doing so with a force asset, and Tohora Fai's force is a 5, so this is a polite roll of a d10 plus 5 against a difficulty of 12 as the nearest, Nusantara is the nearest hex, it looks like, or Tutham, either way would work. So we're looking for a 12 or better, which would be a very good roll, and they get it right on the nose, so they have succeeded without needing to have any damage taken. Let's see how many planets they locate, and they've located 3 planets out here. Man, busy in the world of new planets today. Let's go ahead and get that first one, and oh my gosh, everyone, I should have had something ready. I guess I can react with an appropriate reaction for myself if you're familiar on Discord with a neutral face emote. We finally have a 20 on a ruin. They have found a planet that has a ruin that wasn't Tellus and GM placed. It's a miracle. We finally found one. I should have had a celebratory sound effect ready, and I don't. I'm sorry. It finally happened. It only took 11 turns. And how many planets? But we finally found one. Woohoo! So they'll get some fun additional text from me about that. And a ruin has become available to explore on this planet that I think has currently the boring name of Planet AN. Yep, that's correct. Okay, but let's go ahead and get this planet moved over to the map so that everyone knows it has a ruin on it, because that's a very exciting thing. So this was in 0408. Let's double check, make sure we put it in the correct spot. Yeah, 0408. I'm going to need 2 more rows because there are going to be 3 planets in total going into this system. So planet AN is first, and it's the one that has a ruin, so I'll need to make a note of that when we get to the very end of this. The planetary governor also can add 2 to their force cap of assets and loses 1 from another one of their asset caps when they seize control of this. It has millions of people and is TL3 with a airless or thin atmosphere, a temperate temperature, and a hybrid biosphere, along with the tags of rigid culture and immortal. And as discussed, it has a ruin, which has a clock counter of 8 cycles. Pretty exciting. The next planet here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, AO, and then this one's planet AP. Q is after that? Okay. I'm gonna roll both of those planets, other planets on the side, and then I'll show them on stream in just a moment. It's just easier if I can transfer them over in this way. The planet AO has the mechanics tag of add 1 faction credit per turn, with billions of people at a TL4 level that have a corrosive and invasive atmosphere with a temperate temperature and a remnant biosphere. They do not have a ruin, unfortunately, but they are a cultural power that has a mandate base. And the final planet in this hex has a mechanics tag of wealth assets. Deal one additional damage on a successful attack and counterattack with tens of millions of population living at TL2 on an inert atmosphere that is a frozen planet with an immiscible biosphere. Man, I would not want to live there. It has the tags of local tech, and it's a major shipyard. And it also does not have a ruin. So let me give a quick scroll through of these on the Roll20 chat, so everyone can take a look at these rolls. That is our first natural 20, as I mentioned. Very exciting to finally have one of those. And here's planet AO and planet AP that have been rolled as well for this space. I don't believe the Tohora Fai are relocating that strike fleet, so and in fact they are not. So I'm going to go make sure that the strike fleet that was previously in 0408 is now on planet AO. Or planet AN. Yes, sorry, planet AN, that's the first one. The other ones, why did the other ones not show up? Oh, do I have data validation issues that need to be fixed? Netmap R2. It looks like I do. R2 to 113? No, that should have been correct. Huh. Oh well, I will figure that out later. For now, it is working. But with that said, congratulations to the Tohora Y for finding a ruin, and that's not the end of their turn yet. They are going to also attempt to use part of the map modification mechanics to terraform Dine and Tootham to a breathable mix. So if we go take a look here at a medium difficulty things to change is modification points for either atmosphere or temperature. So this is rolling against a DC 11 of a D10 plus their constellation bonus. They're not choosing to spend any faction credits on it. So that's going to be a D10 plus 4. So we'll go roll that for them, where they have only rolled a 6. Quite unfortunate luck for them. They aren't going to be able to adjust the atmosphere this turn to breathable mix. They do, however, for completing the exploration, and there's no bonus for finding a ruin, but I'm very excited that she found a ruin. You go up. Oh, this did its thing again. Yeah. that you get to go up to 5 XP, gaining 2. Very exciting. With that said, thank the Tahora Y for their turn, and we're going to move right on along to our 7th faction of the turn, the Assembled Commonwealth. The Assembled Commonwealth are going to be taking the Expand Influence action, and then also the corresponding goal. We'll go give them their income, and then they'll go Expand Influence on planet AE. So they'll be gaining an income of 6, bringing them up to 31 faction credits. They're then going to build a 1 HP BOI, so that'll bring them down to 30. So we're going to go ahead and just do that now. If we come take a look at the map, the planet AE is right down over here. In the 1214 system, they're the only one present, so they can make this base of influence without any chance of being contested. So we'll come do that for them right here. Assembled Commonwealth, base of influence. This can just be an asterisk, except I should appropriately drag it down. And this is going to be on planet AE. And it's just 1 HP. Perfect. Great. That finishes up the Expand Influence part of their turn, but they are going to be forming a constellation. It does not have a name yet, so Assembled Commonwealth Constellation. They'll have a better name for it soon, I'm sure. I was told they're still voting on that, and I'm aware of it, so no worries there. And it has it's going to have some hexes in it, but first, so that we can prove they actually have an asset everywhere they want to form this constellation, I need to move some assets around. So if we come take a look at this section, they have a covert shipping on Peleus that they're using to activate a link between planet AE and a POI in 1315 to move a commodities broker out that way. So 1214 right here. That is the commodities broker. It is moving out to 1315. That cost 2 faction credits. The next move is activating a covert shipping asset on Niti to move a commodities broker between Cortus, which is 1214 as well. Where is that one? Right here. I think it's actually 1213. It's a typo on my end. To move to this to Niti in 1011. Then they're going to be activating the extended theater on Idarast between Idarast and Mankaraniti to move the extended theater itself out to Mankaraniti, I believe. Yes. So extended theater asset, so right here, it's moving from Idarast to Mankaraniti, relocating a bunch of assets out onto new worlds right in this area. Otherwise, they would just have things out over here. So with that, let's go ahead and charge them for all of those movements. That's a total cost of 4 faction credits that need to be taken care of, which is over on this tab, bringing them down to a balance of 26. And then they get to make that constellation now that they have an asset in all of the given locations. So the hexes involved in this constellation are 0911, 1011, 1213, 1214, 1315, all ones, 1012, 1112, 1212, 1313, and they're going to force me to add another column onto this of 1314. It has a... I want to fix this, thanks, recentered, and then this needs borders, thanks. This has a total bonus, I'm told, of 3. I will double check and make sure that number is in fact correct with them. And that's the same thing we were expecting, and I'll do it by hand after the stream just to verify that that is correct and I haven't messed something up in translation. So, with that though, we'll go give them their 1 experience for completing their expanding influence that they did so long ago at the start of the turn. And that'll be that. So the next thing, next turn up is the Children of the Vein, who are 8th this turn. They're going to be taking the Exploration action, and we're going to give them their income of 7 XP first. So we'll give them that, and then we'll take care of Exploration. That brings them up to 29. And then from there, they need to explore with the Strike Fleet that is currently in the point of interest in the hex 0904. The difficulty is 10, and they're rolling with Force, so it's a +6. So this is D10 plus 6, difficulty 10, which they hit right on the nose. So they're going to see how many planets they find. I believe A4 is 2 planets. Let's just double check that. Yes, it is. Okay. So the first planet found is a TL4 Utopia. Quite interesting. And this is planet AQ in 0904. Planet map 0904 is right here. I need to add another row. Yes, sheet, I know you don't like this being edited. Planet AQ. And this is AR, with AS being the next one. Okay, so AQ has a mechanics tag of +2 to force cap. That's been pretty common today. Quite interesting enough. Given millions of population on a TL4 planet with a invasive atmosphere and a temperate temperature with a miscible biosphere, along with the tags of Utopia and Tomb World. Quite an interesting combination. The second planet in this hex is wealth assets cost 1 less on a world that has a failed colony. It is TL4. It is a thick atmosphere with a temperate temperature and a miscible biosphere with the tags of altered humanity and former warriors. Quite interesting. Let me pull the Roll20 tab back over so you all can take a look at those on stream. Here are both of them. Neither one rolled a ruin. But yeah, very close. Also, it's quite interesting that, yeah, we had like 40 some odd planets before this, before we finally discovered a ruin. It took a little bit longer than I thought, but that's alright. So we're going to move right on along. I'm going to go make these notes for them. So this, right here, AD 10 plus 6 equal to 10, success. And then they are going to be moving the strike fleet that is currently in this system into a new system of 1004 for a cost of 2 faction credits. So let's find Children of the Vein right here, bring them down to 27. A lot of people right in the same range of faction credit balance. Quite interesting. To find this Children of the Vein point of interest is now moving over to 1004. Great. That wraps up their turn after we give them 2 experience bringing them up to 7. Congratulations to them. And last but certainly not least today is the Ogama Syndicate, who are 9th. They are not taking a goal, but they will be getting 5 faction credits and taking the Seize Planet action. They'll be seizing 2 planets at once here. So let's go give them their money, bring them up to 24, and then this is Seize Planet, Seize Planet K, which they need to move an asset to, but I'm going to go ahead and write it down here while I'm thinking about it. Great. They're going to be spending 2 movements in today's turn, which is going to cost them 2 credits, so we'll bring them down to 22, and now we'll go make those movements for them. So Ogama Syndicate's Strike Fleet number 1 that is on Nueva Cuauhtémoc. They're going to move it to planet Q. And they want it to explicitly be the La Lanza one, so we can do that for them. And then secondly, they want to move the Lapides Pagu right here that is currently on 1307 to 1206 planet K. And then they're going to seize planet K. They're the only one on planet K at this point. It's in 1206, right? Right here. They're the only one on it, so they can seize it without opposition at that point, which is perfectly fine. In addition to the seize action, they are going to take advantage of the fact that they can attack when taking the seize action to attack with Cyber Ninjas the Larkspur Combine on Nueva Cuauhtémoc. I did ask Larkspur Combine this month how they want to defend, but they have to defend with the Seductrux, so it was kind of a default defense. So this is going to be a Cunning versus Cunning, where the Ogama Syndicate has a Cunning of, right here, Cunning of 3 versus Larkspur Combine's Cunning of 3. If they succeed, the Cyber Ninjas right here will do 2d6 damage, otherwise they'll take no damage in a counterattack. So the roll for the Ogama Syndicate will roll the attackers first is an 8. The roll for the defenders, the Larkspur Combine, is an 8. We have a tie. Which I believe a tie in all cases, with the exception of the tag that the Children of the Vein have, Fanatical, is both sides would manage to get their attack off. So we'll do 2d6 damage for the attackers, dealing 6 damage. That's going to kill the Seductrix, I believe. I think those only have 4 HP. And the Seductrix deals no counter damage, so unfortunately it does not get a defensive roll. So Larkspur Combine's Seductrix right here, yes, only has 4 HP, so it drops down to 0, and I get to have fun and delete a row from the spreadsheet. Let's go make these notes. D10 plus 3 equals 8 versus D10 plus 3, which is an 8 tie. Both deal damage. Attacker 2d6 equals 6. No counter attack dice. Perfect. That takes care of the turn for the Ogama Syndicate, and I need to bump their Seize of Planet Q up to 2 out of 3, and I should have bumped the Seize for Ascent to Planets V up to 2 out of 3, so that takes care of all of that. No, Larkspur did not move the Seductrix in their turn. It was an unstealth asset, so it would not have counted for use asset ability for them, or for the inside enemy territory, so I believe that's probably why they didn't move it. But other than that, no idea. But no, it was not included in their turn order, so it was still on world at the time. That does wrap up all 9 faction turns. So thanks for tuning in to that so far. We do have a little bit more to take care of. As has been foreshadowed, there has been a comet streaking towards Tellus. So let's resolve what happens to the planet of Tellus for this turn. So the first thing to note is that the auto clock would tick over to 8, and then at immediately happening at the same time, the comet of Stravakara will impact Tellus. It has the following effects. It is going to stop the auto-ticking clock on Tellus, as the impact has probably in some way damaged critical infrastructure that was allowing terraforming activities to continue to make progress at a rapid pace. So that is now stopped until it is restarted by some mechanic, which will be a TTGI vote. So somebody will have to put forward a proposal that would restart it. The second thing it does is it kicks terraforming progress back by 1 step, so the auto tick that just happened gets reset back down to 7, as the controlled impact of the comet onto the planet kicks up a bunch of dust and debris. The anti-grav sleds that were discussed in the lore prompt do help contain and mitigate some of the damage. There's no overall impact to any assets on world or anything due to the preparations made by TTGI. But it does impact terraforming progress with all this dust and debris that needs to be cleared up. Once the terraforming progress it makes its way back up to 8, however, that is either through the auto-tick restarting or some other proposal that adds 1. That will be some indicating the cleanup of the aftermath of Stravakaro, which will increase the amount of faction credits that this planet gives to the planetary governor from 1 faction credit per turn to 2 faction credits per turn. That'll take place, obviously, the turn after the clock makes its way back up to 8, but be aware that that change is coming as a mechanical impact of Comet. There's some valuable resources left behind, perhaps. I'll leave the exact lore description up to the choice of Children of the Vein, and if they would like any suggestions from the mod team, we're more than happy to give an outline, but in some way, the planet of Stravakara leaves behind something that increases the value of the planet in such a way. So, those details will be placed into the Discord as well, the explanation of what's happening to tell us, and the future impacts as well, just so everyone is able to be on the same page and take a look at them. So, yeah, thanks for all of that. That's what happens to tell us. On TTGI business, the chair for this month was the Children of the Vein. They are proposing exploratory prioritization number 2, which has the following options of removing the faction credit penalty from moving into unexplored hexes for 2 turns, and option 2, advancing the terraforming clock by 1. Those details will be in the Discord. We've seen this proposal before. It is the second time it has come about. So, yeah. I hope you'll tune in to the lore stream. That'll take place in about 2 weeks from today. The current tentative date is August 21st. There's a possibility it may shift around, but it will not be any earlier. It may get delayed a week due to scheduling discussions if needed. But for right now, we're tentatively planning the 21st of August for that. The faction turn itself is also currently in tentative flux. I'm considering the 4th of September. That is a holiday weekend in the US, however, so there is a possibility it will shift to the 11th. You will know the date, and I'll have it posted in the faction, the channels for faction leaders and all of that, around the same time that turn orders go out. So when turn orders go out, a final date will be known, so that all deadlines are known at that point. So it may be another 24 to 36 hours before the exact date of the next faction turn is finalized, but it'll be one of those 2 weekends. I just want to make sure that if I do choose the holiday weekend, it's going to be fine on my schedule and not too demanding for the deadlines earlier on for US holiday people. But over the next couple of weeks, you still should be able to find some more free agent sessions that are come out. We still have a couple more in the pipeline and more sessions to be running in the near future. So hopefully you'll be able to join in a session. There weren't any this week because of scheduling reasons for Cal, but he'll be should be available soon for some new sessions. So hopefully you'll be able to join on in if you're interested in playing and a schedule will work out for you. If not, there will be a premiere tomorrow, starting around 1 p.m. Eastern. Probably a few minutes prior to that, there will be a start of an episode um, an episode series actually tomorrow. Tomorrow's episode starts off a story on Ingrid that spans over 2 sessions, where the ending of the session tomorrow spirals into members wanting to return to that on their own without a specific job to clean up some loose ends. Let's just put it that way. So that'll be a 2 session series with the first episode tomorrow around 1 p.m. and the next one will be next week. It'll be on Saturday. The 14th will be for the next one. All right. I think that about wraps up everything I've got announcement-wise. I'll be taking care of getting things into the Discord immediately after this. Let's make sure let's see if I've broken the map, as I potentially may have. Yeah. Hey, maybe I haven't. I'll take a look and see if there's any map fixes, because it looks like I have broken asset placement on the map. I'll take a look at that, make sure I've got it all fixed up shortly after the stream ends, and get everything needed in the Discord. I hope everyone's enjoyed the turn today. I believe there will be a text version that I know Interfriend in Twitch chat always works up, and we'll have posted already at the start in live stream discussion on the Discord channel, so you can take a look there if you don't have time to watch the entire video. Make sure to check that out. Excuse me, a big thanks to them for always taking the time to transcribe the important mechanical bits live as they happen for those who may not be able to catch the stream. Sometimes it is, I entirely understand, faster to read the written up version of the faction turn rather than catch the video, but we always appreciate everyone who makes it out here. I think that wraps up the stream today, though. So thanks for tuning out. Nicely timed to be at about an hour, which is quite a bit of fun. But I'll leave you with some chill tunes for the next couple of minutes as we fade out here. And thanks for joining me.